You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your new favorite podcast for everything Bills and Sabres. What's going on, everybody? You are listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your favorite podcast for all things Bills and Sabres, with the pals, Nigel, Tom, and Jake. Episode 30 coming at you, a whole new set of 10 here. Quick reminder to follow our social medias. You can find us on Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Let's Go Buff Pod. That's Buff with 2 F's. Let's say good morning to the fellas here. Tom, how we doing, pal?
Dude, I'm great. Good morning. Happy Sunday to you, bud. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, man. Jake, how we doing, brother?
Bonjour. He's come back from abroad.
I have. I've returned. I'm not used to seeing you guys in the morning. This is nice, though. But yeah, I'm good. Just got back from a long trip to Europe, so I'm psyched about that. I'm really happy to be home after a long trip. So
yeah,
I'm good. Yeah, good to be here chatting with you boys.
Tell us a bit about the trip, dude. You did some pretty cool stuff over there.
It was awesome. It was so it was a part work, part vacation trip. So I started off going to France to do some skiing. Was in the Alps for a couple of days, shredding up the.
Did you yodel? I hope you yodeled.
There was a little bit of yodeling. I'm not the best yodeler, so I left that to the locals. Yeah, it was great. The skiing was incredible, dude. It's such a difference night and day from the Catskills that I'm used to. So it was phenomenal. And then for those that don't know, I work for a British company, so I was in London doing some worky things for the last week or so, and yeah, had a great trip there. Saw some of my coworkers that I really enjoy, and yeah, had a great time there, drinking some tea with the Brits.
Nice, dude. That's killer, man. That's skiing. Jake, before we hopped on, Jake showed us, like, he projected the trail map of the mountain that he was on, and like, I used to be huge into skiing, dude. I'm not so much anymore. Well, snowboarding for me. But one of my life goals is still to do like some legit, like, unreal powder type skiing. And like what you did, man, is like absolutely on my bucket list.
Yeah.
When this podcast takes off, we're doing a company retreat to.
Dude, could you imagine? Oh,
absolutely.
That'd be the best.
Live from a gondola.
Sick. Tom, you've been on break all week, dude. How's your break been?
Wonderful. It's been pretty quiet. My wife and I hung out, spent some us time, and yeah, it's been good. I had my brothers up this past couple of days, so good to see them. I was glad that they took the little jaunt up to Vermont. But yeah, no, it was really nice. We're definitely a much needed break, and the sunshine has been freaking great for me too. Been loving it.
Nice, right?
Yeah, super hyped up for springtime at this point.
Yeah. Well, folks, we are it's 11:30 on a Sunday, and we're not drinking beer right now. I think that, I mean, we could have, like, you wouldn't be shocked if we were.
With the three of us, like, this is a crowd that would.
Yeah,
but
sure.
not now.
Wouldn't be the first time either.
We're all just drinking coffee this morning, so boys, cheers to a nice Sunday cup of Joe. My mug, can you guys read it?
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it was not gifted from your grandparents. I could bet it wasn't actually.
No, it was. Yeah, my grandmother got it for me for my birthday.
Are you her only grandson?
I am the only dude. I'm the only boy on the entire, like, on both sides of my family, except for William now, my new brother-in-law. But yeah, all my cousins, all females. So yeah, dude.
That's awesome. That's a great mug. It's a great mug.
Pretty good, right? All right, so we're gonna get into a little bit of Sabres talk here first, just because it hasn't all been terrible, which is great. Jake, you want to walk us through a couple of Sabres things or two?
Yeah, sure. It has not all been terrible, and look, even when it was terrible, there were still bright spots. But they've been on a little bit of a hot streak, so we just kind of wanted to call that out a little bit and talk about it for a little bit before the trade deadline coming up on Friday. We won't get into the trade deadline today, but we'll do a bit more of an episode later this week on some trade candidates and what we might want to or not want to see. But since we last recorded, there's been, I believe, 6 games, and the Sabres are 4-1-1 in those games. Am I correct on
Yeah.
that? I think something like that.
I don't know exactly what it is in the last stretch here, but the last stretch they have won a lot more than they have lost. And it's I don't know, dude. I like it's great, but like for me, like it's just simply like the banner says, dude. It's too little, too late. Like you're at least at this point 10 points out of a playoff spot. I believe you're more than 10 points out of a playoff spot. All the teams you have to leap over are going to continue to win, right? At least some of the time. So there's like no way you could. I mean, it would be absolutely insane if they were to at this point make the playoffs. I mean, you could probably lose like 2 more games for that to actually be possible. But yeah, go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is too little, too late. They are 10 points out of a playoff spot currently. There's 6 teams between them and the second playoff spot. So it's way too late. I want to correct myself too. They're 5-1 in the last 6 games. So that it's been a good stretch. There's no two ways around that. But there's nothing. There's really been nothing left to play for. I'm always hesitant to buy into teams in general, not just the Sabres. Any team that kind of goes on a hot streak once the points stop mattering because they're so far out, it's a slippery slope when you start to put a lot of stock into that. I look at like Ottawa, for example, last year too, kind of started to play well down the stretch, but still missed the playoffs. And then this year, they kind of are in the same boat as Buffalo of high expectations, young, talented
Major
team.
disappointment.
Major disappointment, yeah. But they've started to play well too. You have to watch out for the paper tiger teams that start looking fierce when there's nothing left to play for. And Buffalo's done that a little bit this year, and they've done that other years. Last year they played well down the stretch, but they were kind of they were in the race still.
They were hunting, yeah.
So I don't know what to make of it, but they have beat some good teams in the past 6 games or so. I haven't really had a chance to watch them, Nigel, because I've been away. But any trends or things that you've seen from the team that you like or
Dude,
still are suspect?
They right now for me are doing a significantly better job of passing the eye test, right? Like everything just looks faster, and I'm telling you, man, there's the biggest thing that I see that leads to the Sabres' success, I guess, is kind of twofold. One, or it's more or less the same thing, an insanely aggressive forecheck, right? Like just taking away, you have to take away as much time and space for these guys as you possibly can because they're just too good, right? So I find for this Sabres team, when the forecheck is at its most aggressive, that's when we are bar none the most successful. Okay. The other thing that I've been noticing too, I feel like we've been blocking shots like crazy. Like, and when you're starting to eat shots, dude, like it's just less going at your net. And then on top of that, dude, I mean, his numbers in his last 10 games are crazy right now, dude. UPL is playing absolutely unreal. He's playing so well right now. We beat the absolute wheels off of Vegas yesterday, and we looked awesome most of that game, dude. We had a slip up in the early second period where we allowed Vegas to come back and tie the game at 2. But then the rest of that period, dude, for the next like 12 minutes, it was like 12 minutes in Vegas's end, dude, cycling the puck. I mean, like we're changing while we're in the offensive zone, like that kind of continued pressure. And then we end up winning that game. Like we beat the wheels off, and it was like what, 7-2 or something like that.
Yeah, 7-2. Cousins with 2 shorthanded goals.
Yeah, like
Seems
I mean,
great, yeah.
it was just crushing. Oh, Aaron Stabell, what's good, dude?
What's up, man?
So yeah, dude. I mean, it was, yesterday was awesome, but like, and UPL was sick, but too little, too late.
Yeah, but you start blocking shots, you start making it easier on your goalie. The goalie can start making more saves and looking like UPL has looked. It snowballs, right? I mean, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy when both those things start happening that you're going to start winning more games.
Yeah.
But yeah, UPL has been great. He's proving, I think, that he can be the number one guy. Like I know the team is starting to gel a little bit and play better, and we talked about not really trusting that. But I do think that UPL is a little bit more trustworthy, I guess, of what he's shown this year. It's been consistent, and he's kind of that's what we were looking for earlier in the year, is consistency out of him, not necessarily the flashes that he had before, but just consistently being able to look like he belongs in the net.
Yeah.
Does that give Devin Levi some room to like relax and like get some experience in the league and play in Rochester and then come up and play in Buffalo like next year and like not have to come in and be the guy next year?
Well, so can I actually jump in on that, because Tom, you almost beat me to it a hair, and I want to pose a question to Jake. So Jake, like with the way UPL has played, right? How do you feel going into next season with a UPL as like the entrenched starter and Devin Levi being the backup that plays, I don't know, what would you want to see him play, 35, 40 games?
Yeah, I'd be okay with the split like that. I think that depends on, Devin Levi's been playing really well in Rochester. I think
He has been sick in Rochester.
slot that in, because it's a very different answer if he went down to Rochester and wasn't dominating.
Mhm.
But the Rochester's had some offensive struggles recently, and Devin Levi has kind of kept them in games that maybe they shouldn't have been before.
He's been awesome down there.
Incredible, yeah. So if he continues that and finishes the season out that way, I hope they make the playoffs and get Levi some playoff experience. With all those things happening, I think I'd be okay with him being the 1B, I guess you could say, in Buffalo next year. The part of me also still says, if you can find a goalie that could complement UPL well, that's a veteran, and almost most importantly, you don't infuriate Devin Levi by keeping him in the minors for another year, I would feel most comfortable with that scenario, having a 1B kind of veteran guy come in and be the support to UPL rather than a rookie.
Jake, then that's my vote for a plan. I would much rather do that than immediately, because like what was the issue with Devin Levi this year? I think the expectations were just astronomically high, right?
Yeah.
And he probably was feeling that pressure and just, I don't know, maybe that was it. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe he just needs more time to acclimate. I don't know, dude. But he's doing really well in Rochester, and he's so freaking young. And goalies, that development trajectory, excuse me, is a weird one, dude. So like, I'm totally fine leaving him in Rochester to cook another year.
Yeah, same here. The only reason that I would have pause is if he would be significantly like upset by that. But at the same time, that would raise question marks to me if this rookie goalie is that upset by needing to spend time in the AHL. I think that's a tough look as well.
I also can't imagine he would be. Like, he seems like the sweetest kid on the planet.
He does, yeah. So I don't know. I guess I'd prefer that too. Just a veteran goalie that can kind of play 30, 35 games to spell UPL and have UPL ideally continue looking like he's looked.
Right. And that's the other half of it, right? Like, you're assuming that UPL is going to continue this kind of a trajectory. So
yeah. But I think what you said about the expectations for Levi being high and feeling it earlier this year, I think that can go for the whole team. The whole team's looked like they've had lofty expectations, but just couldn't live up to them and kind of got bogged down under the weight of them. So until they can, but next year there's going to be just as high expectations, even higher, and they're going to feel that pressure again. So they need to play like they're playing now when there are expectations for them to mount.
Yeah, I'm not willing to be that kind about it. Alrighty.
Fair enough. But anyway, so real quick, before we move on to the Bills, it's been 1 year to the day of the Jordan Greenway trade. And so I want to save a lot of the trade deadline talk for next episode this week. However, real quick on Jordan Greenway. Traded last year for a 2nd-round pick and a 5th-round pick. And in his games as a Sabre, he's played 66, and he has 13 goals, 12 assists for 25 points. Tom. So what are your thoughts now, 1 year in the past, 1 year in the future from the trade? Feel it's good? Do you feel like he's a piece of this team moving forward, Nigel? Or kind of, what are your thoughts on it?
I like him a lot better this season than I did last season. I think he dealt with some injury stuff last year, if I remember right. So that could have been part of it. Could have just been acclimating to the team. I, those numbers don't justify a second round pick to me. So that's where I struggle the most, especially knowing you can get a guy like JJ Paterka in the second round. So that doesn't equate to me. But a player like Jordan Greenway, you don't ask him to do what you ask a JJ Paterka to do. And I think for what we ask him to do, which is be a big body, contribute a little bit offensively, take up space in front of the net, he's been doing a better job with that this year. Do I see him as a permanent piece going forward? Very much I could do with or without him. I don't care. I think he should be on the third line. I don't think he should be on power play one. I don't think he should be up playing with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck. But for what you ask a guy like that to do, I think you could do worse, but you could definitely do better too.
Yeah, agreed. He's done here what he did in Minnesota too. He hasn't changed as a player. I think there was some people that expected him to command a bigger role and put in more goals as a net front presence. But it just hasn't happened. He's still the same player he was. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but
that was all linked to Don Granato too. Don Granato coached him when he was younger. So I think that's what they thought Don Granato could unlock some magic with Jordan Greenway. But I think it's just like Joe Marino says, dude, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, sure.
We know who Jordan Greenway is. So
we do. We'll see what happens. So anyways, we'll move on. Coming up this week in an episode, we'll look at all of the trade candidates, you could say, for Buffalo, who's unsigned as of now and who might be on the move. And talk about what we might want to see in return for them, and maybe talk about some other bigger trades that may or may not happen, or trades we'd like to see, perhaps we can call it. But anyways, that's for next time.
That's with an impending trade deadline on Friday, right? An NHL trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, March 8th.
All right. We're in the thick of it. Cool.
Sweet.
All right. Rolling over to Bill's sides of things. We've been doing on the pod the last few weeks quite a bit of work on off-season priorities for the Bills. We've gone through and we've kind of identified what we thought were the strengths and weaknesses within each position group, and identified like where we thought that Brandon Beane needs to spend his time. So what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of have a little bit of a debate here on what order should we prioritize these. Like, where do we as a pod think that Brandon Beane needs to really kind of focus his efforts? So let me share our document here. And we've identified the Bills' needs as, in no particular order yet, as defensive end, defensive tackle, cornerback, safety, QB2, RB2, and wide receiver. All of those have a variety or a whole spectrum of priority. So our goal right now is just to let's put them in order. So what I think we should do, we're going to toss it around, kind of draft style, and we each get to kind of make our stake for what position we think and where they need to slot in. So if we want to then kind of debate and argue a little bit and have some commentary on what order they should be in, let's open it up. So Nigel, I'm gonna start with you, bud. Where do you want to start? What's priority number one?
All right, so for me, priority number one is absolutely wide receiver. All right, that's for me, and my reasoning behind that is because we have a top 3 player in the entire NFL by the name of Josh Allen, and I think when you have a player of that caliber at the most important position in sports, you prioritize putting them in the absolute best situation to succeed. And for a quarterback, a position to succeed involves many weapons to throw the football to, many good weapons. And right now, this team is in desperate need of a player that can vertically stretch the field, open up things underneath, and be a speedy, deep threat. And I think that player is going to be the addition to the team that most influences Josh Allen. And he is one of the best players in the world. So that just makes a lot of sense to me. So there's my reason.
It's a pretty compelling case. I agree with you, man. And especially my other thought to put there is we also need to stock the cupboards, right? We we have Stephon Diggs, who is going in. We've talked about this quite a bit, but he's going into the beginning of his 4-year deal. So he's on the team for a while, but he is older. He's 30. And I think, right, we need to kind of start thinking beyond this season, next season. We need to
Totally.
be ready for somebody else to step in after. So, and we got to start taking shots at that, because it's not a guarantee we get them in this draft. It's not a guarantee we get them. We already have them on the team, right? We got to keep throwing darts at that board and figure out who's going to be able to make it. So,
and you don't want to all of a sudden you're in a position where you need to turn the reins over to somebody. You don't want to do that to a rookie coming in fresh faced. You want it to be somebody that's been around for a year or two. No?
Justin Jeffersons don't grow on trees, right?
Yeah.
Like that guy, he had 2 quiet games on his rookie season, and then he blew up on game 3 of his rookie season. That doesn't happen, right? That we can't bank on that happening either. It is nice to know that he was like, I mean, it was the pick that the Bills traded to get Stephon Diggs. It was like pick 18. So like, it doesn't have to be a top 5 pick. Which for somebody to come in and be a superstar. So I think that's comforting, knowing, especially with this wide receiver rookie class coming in, we have some options there. So yeah, I'm down to slot in wide receiver as our number 1 need.
Yep.
Jake, would you like to take a swing at this bat or in this pinata, or do you want to pass it on?
I'll take a swing, but I want you to debate me if you feel otherwise. So I'll talk through my thoughts instead of just giving you an answer, because I think that might be more compelling. I think that having the wide receiver position taken care of is a huge step in making the offense more lethal. I don't think QB2 or RB2 are as important in doing that. So I think I'd like to have our second need be on the defensive side of the ball. With that said, I lean towards the secondary a little bit, either cornerback or safety. I think safety position largely depends on what happens with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, whether they come back for another year or if we've seen the last of them. If both are gone, then I think that becomes my second need. And if it's one or the other, then perhaps it can be touched down a bit. But I think for sake of argument, I'm going to say the Bills move on from Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, sadly, as we've kind of talked about. And I think that becomes my number 2 need. But I will turn that over to you guys for some more intelligent thoughts on the matter.
Go ahead, Tom.
So I think it's definitely a need, and I think it's in the top half of the Bills' needs, but I don't think it's number 2. Mostly, and it's because of this. It's because of Sean McDermott. The guy is a little bit of a secondary, like, cornerback safety whisperer, where the guy can coach up almost anybody to go in and give you starter level play. And he's done that for his entire career. This is not just something that's been a flash in the pan. The guy's done it when he was in Philadelphia. He did it when he was in Carolina, and he's done it most significantly with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer here in Buffalo, where he coached up those 2 guys who were 5th and 7th round picks, were not starters on their prior teams, signed them to the Bills, and then kaboom, they became arguably the best safety tandem to ever play together. So I don't know if that's a huge priority, because I think we can go pick up Joe Schmo for $1.7 million and we'll be just fine.
Kyer Elam's agent is screaming right now.
Tom, can I pose a quick thought on that real quick? Now, I think you're correct that Sean McDermott has a great track record of all that stuff. John Butler's not a coach on this defensive staff anymore. And I think it's worth mentioning that he had a big hand in a lot of that development too. I wonder if we at any point notice here a dip in the developmental ability of this defensive coaching staff without John Butler being there. Do you think that's a possibility?
It's definitely a possibility, but you know who else was a big part of that? Bobby Babich, who's now the defensive coordinator.
Sure.
So right,
yep.
he was the secondary coach for those first few seasons with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer were kind of blowing up. So I think we will feel the loss of John Butler. Absolutely, the guy was great. He was a very smart and capable coach, and is going to continue to be in the league. But I don't know. So I'm ready to put safety not in number 2. Can I propose my my proposal for for number 2?
Yeah, dude.
I would like to have my proposition proposed of my next step is defensive tackle. I think this and this particularly because it's going to affect 2 different position rooms. I think firstly we have very little signed to the team in the defensive tackle room. We have Ed Oliver and then like nobody. So we need bodies, and B, we have Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard playing in our linebacker core, and they're not big boys. They are smaller linebackers who are mobile and play in space. And if they get tied up in just being eaten alive by the what the offense is starting to kind of affect their will on them, we're going to be done. So we need a defensive tackle room who could really eat up space and keep them clean to let them go do all these wild fireworks plays that we see them do. So I think defensive tackle is important because A, we need them, and B, it's going to set up Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard for a really great season next year.
Yep. My number 2 priority is also defensive tackle. And the only other thing I would add to that is trying to get a little bit younger and cheaper, right? Like Daquan Jones is north of 30, and he's not going to be cheap if we do re-sign him. So and for all the reasons Tom said as well. And yeah, I think, and Brandon Bean builds from the trenches out. So I know it's going to be a priority for him. Yeah, so I'm with you on that, Tom. Defensive tackle is the number 2 need for me for this football team.
Okay. Now, where do we go next?
In terms of position or person?
Yeah. You're up. You get to pick the next.
All right. So for me, and again, this is a tough one because we don't know what's going to happen with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. Even still, regardless of that, I think for me, the next biggest need is defensive end. And I say defensive end because, like Tom said before about defensive tackle, we have next to nobody signed. We have Greg Rousseau and Von Miller, and that's it. And Von Miller at this point is not the Von Miller that we know. So to me, you have one starting caliber defensive end in a position that is probably like, it's a top 5 most important on your team. So yeah, for me, defensive end is the third most important need. It's only below defensive tackle because we do have 2 players at the defensive tackle position, and defensive end position, and defensive tackle only has 1. So that was the deal breaker for me right there.
It's good math. Nice. That's great.
Thank you very much. So yeah, the defensive line in general is once again somehow a huge need. So for me, yeah, third is defensive end.
Yeah, I'm in with that. I completely buy that, especially because we don't have the horses in the stable. We gotta, for whatever reason, restock this cupboard again.
Feels like we take so many shots at this one too, and we always need it.
But you got to. Every team has them.
What makes it so hit or miss?
So it's a big. I mean, we've taken some swings. It's just we haven't hit right. Von Miller was awesome, phenomenal for that first half of the season, and then kaboom, blows out his ACL. Has not been the same person, and we spent like a large amount of cap space on him. Greg Rousseau has been a bright spot. He's been awesome. He was a first-round pick, really worked well. We've taken a second-round pick on AJ Epinesa, who had a slow start to his career, and then had a nice, solid last 2 seasons, but he's no longer signed to the team, so he's a free agent. Then after AJ Epinesa, we also it was Greg Rousseau and then Boogie Basham in the same draft class. And Boogie turned into nothing. He's off the team. He's on the Giants now. And we've kind of just then filled in some veteran free agents around that. That's Leonard Floyd. That's Shaq Lawson. That's a variety of these different players that have just kept coming and done what they needed to. But we don't have a couple guys signed to long-term deals. So we need the youth. We need some rookie deals, I think, coming in and hopefully being more of an impact than maybe AJ Epinesa or Boogie Basham did.
Yeah, I'm mentally prepared for I think there's going to be a lot of darts thrown at the defensive line.
Yeah,
portion of the draft,
and I hope so. It's got to hit at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think this 4th spot, I'm going to take Jake's safety recommendation there, and I think we slot it in here at 4. Mostly because, and I do that over cornerback because we just have more players in the room at quarterback that we believe in, right? We have Christian Benford, we have Teron Johnson, we have Kyrie Elam, who's could be something. But we have a lot invested there in him, right? Because he was a first round pick. So I just think we have more invested there that I think we need to just. I think it's a smarter investment to go and kind of restock the safety room.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I'm in agreement there, 100%.
Because Jake, you had the right reasons. We are losing a phenomenal safety tandem. I just thought that the priority needed to be elsewhere.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I didn't think I was wrong on the reasons. I just didn't put enough emphasis on the direness of the need of the other defensive line positions, I guess.
Yeah, and just the talent on the coaching staff to coach up safety. That it doesn't have to. We don't have to spend a lot to get what we need out of that position. So
right.
So is cornerback next? Is it? I'm noticing a run of the defensive side of the ball. No.
Yeah, my argument is cornerback to be next. Yeah, absolutely. And the case there for me is we just don't know what we have left in Tre'Davious White, and that's probably the biggest X factor with the cornerback room.
True.
I think it's almost a guarantee that Rasul Douglas gets a deal done this season.
I hope so. I'll send in $5 to go help with that.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they didn't. So I think it's a pretty safe bet that at this point, because even if Trey White comes back to being any shell of himself, it's not going to be at the beginning of the season. So I think we're going to start this upcoming season with Benford and Rasul Douglas as your starting cornerbacks. But after that, you don't have Dane Jackson anymore, or at least not officially. He needs a new deal. Kyrie Elam's a wild card. You don't know what you have in Tre'Davious White. So your depth there is suddenly really thin.
Even if he does come back, I hate saying it, but I feel like you can't trust him much at all to not go down with another season-ending injury. He's done the last 2 years in a row. Like I take no joy in saying it, but it's been a trend.
Yeah, it's been not good. So
I'm down. Let's throw it in. Then I'm gonna go kind of skip us position here, and I think that the last position is quarterback 2 because I don't think it freaking matters who is quarterback 2 if we don't have Josh Allen. We're kind of up a creek. So I think let's get somebody that Josh is comfortable with. Let's not spend a lot of money on. We need the guy who can come in and help Josh prepare week to week. But if Josh is down,
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? We're up a creek and we're without any paddle in sight. You know,
yeah. And I predictively, I think this is just going to be Kyle Allen again.
Yeah, I'd be down.
All right. Well, I think that leaves one spot for RB2.
Sure does.
Yep, and I agree with I agree with all of this entirely.
So it slots in, but remind me from your conversation before, what are you looking for in the RB2? What kind of player?
We need something that's a complement to James Cook. So James Cook is more of a narrow-built, longer, leaner running back. More speed, not going to be someone that breaks a ton of tackles on a 3rd and 1 between the tackles. We need a guy that can come in and bang out a 3rd and 1 between the tackles, not go down at first contact. So we need a wrecking ball.
And not make Josh Allen have to take 15 rushing touchdowns.
Correct.
And then pass protection. The other big part of that is pass protection. Can you come in and be a reliable pass protector? And ideally, this is still a pass-first offense. So we need a player who can come in, be reliable there, and then catch the ball out of the backfield a little bit. Have some short yardage ability, and just be reliable. So I bet this is gonna be a veteran, or honestly, this could be I'm getting ahead of myself. We have some other solutions where this could be. So yeah, boys, I like this. I like this list we made.
Yeah, no, that all tracks for me. Yeah,
all right.
And honestly, dude, I could even be in a world where wide receiver and defensive tackle are swapped, dude. I think whatever is first is just going to completely depend on the way the board falls. And I will say this too: everything I keep seeing right now in the Twitter world or X world is that this wide receiver class is deep as all hell, dude. So I wouldn't be shocked to see us take a run in maybe even the first 2 rounds on the defensive line, and then maybe even look to get our wide receiver 2 in round 3. Although that makes me a little nervous, but.
It could also be a free agent, right? We're going to hit free agency before the draft. So we will know some of these problems, some of these holes will be plugged before we go into the drafts. And honestly, Brandon Beane does a really great job of going into the draft not needing a certain position. He tries to get himself set up so that it's not red flag that, oh my God, we need this one spot or
Yeah.
we're screwed. He's got some solutions in place and then opens up the board for him so he doesn't have to rely on just one rookie pick being the correct pick.
Yeah, that's a great point, Tom. Yeah.
So I bet we're going to see a lot of movement before the draft comes. And March is going to be a busy month.
I was going to say free agency opens fairly soon, right?
Yeah, mid-March. So we'll know. We're gonna spend this week focusing on an NHL trade deadline, and then after that, we're gonna look at a bunch of NFL free agents. So it's a busy little month here in the offseason.
For sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So taking those needs, we are now gonna zoom out, and I'm going to reveal the rest of our magical list here, and we now get to make some decisions. We're gonna start on the offense, where we're as a team here are going to kind of come up with what we think we should do. What are the decisions need to be made? Where are we getting these players? And continue the rest of our offseason work here. So while I'm getting things set up, Jake, want to start us off at quarterback here, dude?
Yeah, I think I agree with what Nigel was kind of projecting there, that Kyle Allen probably sticks around. He's clearly comfortable with Josh, and they're good friends. Not related, as I continually think they are, but I think they're complementary to each other. Like you guys said, Kyle Allen's not going to win you a lot of games, but if he is the guy in a position that we need him to win us some games, then we're probably got bigger issues to think about. So I'm fine leaving him kind of slotted in there.
Yeah. Yep, that's my thought as well. And he's going to be cheap. And at this point, he's already got a year in, so there's no quarterback 2 anywhere out there that's going to come in and be more prepared than he ever was, right? He's got a year under his belt there. So, yeah, I think that's my prediction.
I agree.
A re-sign there for me.
He's also got some not known ability. He knows the wide receivers and the rest of the offensive weapons on this team. So if he needed to come in, he at least has a year's worth of reps throwing to these guys and knowing the system. So, God forbid we need him, he has a better chance of coming up and doing something significant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you say no ability?
Yeah, it's a new one. Check it out in the Webster Merriam's dictionary. Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh man.
Oh no. Yeah, my ability to who gave me a microphone?
We did.
Nice. Yeah, you did. Yeah, I blame both of you.
True.
What are you gonna do in the running back room, dude? What's your thought?
This is either a bargain bin free agent or a late shot in the dark draft pick, 5th round, 6th round, something like that. And I imagine it'll be one of those two things. This won't be a high draft capital move by Brandon Beane, and he's certainly not going to spend a lot of money on a running back 2. He doesn't spend a lot of money on his running back 1s. So this will be either a bargain bin free agent or a late round draft pick is my guess.
I like it. Do you want to re-sign Ty Johnson?
I would love to re-sign Ty Johnson. I don't think he'll be expensive. I think he does offer you a little bit more bangability between the tackles than James Cook does. Jake, don't look at me like that.
That's right next to no ability.
Right, bangability and no ability.
You guys are full of abilities.
So yeah, dude, I would love to see him be re-signed, but who knows? We'll see if they can agree on a number or if Brandon Beane even wants him to come back. But he would still fall in the category for me of bargain bin free agent.
I like it.
So,
what about the old man of the league, Tom? You want him back?
No, man. Hey, man. Good luck. Sayonara.
Yeah, he's going to retire. He has
NFLPA president or something because the guy's got some leadership abilities. But yeah, no, thank you.
Agreed.
All right, offensive line, man. I am so excited, honestly, that we have so much white here that there's everybody's signed. We got all the guys. I would love to re-sign David Edwards because I don't think he's going to be expensive. I don't think he's done anything this year that was going to make another team be like, ooh, oh my God, get David Edwards. I don't think he's going to be in high demand. So, and I imagine at least I hope he'd want to come back. So I hope we just re-sign David Edwards. I think we throw a dart or two late in the draft just to keep the roster turn in there. Yeah, keep the cupboard stocked. And if David Edwards doesn't want to re-sign or gets a better deal somewhere else, then we call in a Maybe it's Tommy Doyle coming off this injury, gets to go do the David Edwards role, and we're bringing in a rookie to kind of fill in the bottom of the roster. So I think offensive line is really simple. Just let's re-sign David Edwards, and if we don't, then we draft somebody, and everybody kind of rolls up that roster rankings.
Hold on, I gotta pin a quick question from Mike here. What do you think there, Tom?
Oh, it's clearly Josh Allen. Yeah. All right. Yeah. We are also video game just delinquents, and we've been playing that Helldivers game. Everybody out there has been playing Helldivers. This is a good question, though. Yeah. Who on the roster would take out the most tournaments?
You know what, dude? I don't know if it would be Josh Allen. I think I'm gonna go like kind of like a dark horse, like Ed Oliver, like a defensive lineman, Greg Rousseau, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think some of these country boys. Yeah, I think Ed Oliver's got a good chance. I think Spencer Brown, because he's as big as the Terminids, will have a good chance. Like that's the squad I want to be on. I like that. Yeah,
I like that.
That's good. All right, we got to get a Twitter poll on that on the podcast.
Baby. We should.
That's what we need. That's what we need. All right.
Where are we? Wide receiver.
Wide receiver. Nige, that one's for you, dude. I'm gonna let you take away. What are you gonna do? What's the solution?
Yeah, this one for me. My hope is a very high draft resource. And a big reason for that is age, right? Stephon Diggs is going to be a little bit older. And I think if you infuse a young top tier wide receiver right now, for the next good chunk of time, your first, second, third passing options are potentially filled in this new, hopefully first round wide receiver, Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, right? So I think that would be just a really smart move to invest a high, a high draft capital pick in that wide receiver position to get the talent that we're going to need in the next couple of years when Steph Diggs is no longer on the team, and B, just to have your high end passing options in the offense all be pretty young.
I like it. I like it. Any free agent capital being spent there?
There's a good. Oh, there's gonna have to be. Yeah, there's gonna be some bargain bin guys for sure. Maybe even because it's so deep, maybe you see a late round dart throw here by Brandon Bean. But yeah, I see a lot of I've been seeing a lot of like Curtis Samuel and stuff like that. I don't know that I love that. I'd much rather go with a younger, more dynamic player. And he's going to be expensive too. I don't know where people think we're going to get the money to sign a guy like Curtis Samuel. So yeah, you'll get at least 2 bargain bin free agent signings in the position room as well, I would imagine. But the big one's going to be the early draft capital in the first or second round, I think, for wide receiver.
We got to send Brandon Bean a sticker that says Brandon Bean's bargain bin bonanza.
I love it, dude. I bet if we did, he'd wear it.
I guess it's good for that. Yeah.
Bro, real quick, Brandon Bean, did you see the other day by chance the picture of him in those Superfly Nikes come across Twitter?
I did not. I fucking love that though.
People were talking about him. They were like $8,000 or something like that.
Are you kidding me?
100% serious. What? That's so sick. Anyway, continue.
You'll never see me drop money like that on shoes.
Just God, no, never.
Just not a shoe guy.
No,
I could bring my money out of the places. I think tight end is a really easy room, just like offensive line. We got Dawson Knox signed to that monster deal. Like it, hate it, he's signed to it, so he's staying. Dalton Kincaid, good God, I love him. And then Zach Davidson, Trey McKitty, they're just depth pieces on the roster.
They're going to be on the practice squad.
Awesome. Yeah, which is fantastic. And I think we signed Quentin Morris back. The guy's been great. And I don't think, just like I was talking about David Edwards, I don't think he did anything this season to make other teams go scrambling for him. So no. I imagine he comes back and re-signs, and
we also
on the roster.
We have exclusive. Sorry to cut you off there, Tom. I apologize. We have exclusive rights for a minute to Q Morris too.
You're right.
So
yeah, he's the only one. Yeah,
almost a lock that he's going to come back.
Yeah, agreed. Well, sweet. Let's expand our range here a little bit, and let's talk defense.
This is a tougher one.
Yeah,
but we've only really allocated 1 to 2 draft picks on any position so far. We said wide receiver, take one higher up, and then take kind of a flyer in the later rounds. Yeah.
And then our throw O-line. I think that's always good to keep that room stocked. So let's say 3
picks on the offense.
Yeah, 3 out of the 10.
So that leaves. Yeah. So yeah, I was going to ask you guys how many picks that leaves, and
Do
like
we
kind of
have
what
do
we're
we
planning.
have 10 picks, Tom?
I think we have. I think it's definitely 9, and I think we have 10.
So I'm looking at 9, but I was wondering if you knew something I didn't. Do we have
Oh,
a first
maybe
round
the
pick,
10th.
second round pick?
Go ahead, keep going.
First round pick, second round pick, fourth, 2 fifths, 3 sixths, 1 sevenths.
Yeah, because we have a
1/7.
third round pick. We have compensatory pick coming in from the Tremaine Edmonds deal. Him signing with Chicago for such a giant deal. We traded away our normally allocated third round pick for Rasul Douglas, but we're going to get another one with Tremaine Edmonds. So, yep, there's the 10th.
There it is. Okay.
A good. I mean, third round's a good pick. I'll take it. Like that's a
you hit on
valuable
that.
pick.
It's not unheard for that to be a starter.
Right? That's Terrell Bernard.
Exactly.
Right?
Say it like that, dude. I'm gonna get squirmy.
I get too excited. All right, I'm gonna take the end. Here we go. I'm taking the end.
All right, buddy.
So I hope that we do not re-sign AJ Epinesa. We do not re-sign Leonard Floyd. I hope that we do re-sign Shaq Lawson because I like the guy. He's a great player, and I don't think he's going to be expensive. And what I think that means is that we have at least one top 4 round draft pick, maybe top 3 at the end. And then we're going to go sign some other significant Leonard Floyd-esque free agent who's a veteran, has proven ability, proven production on the field, but maybe not quite as expensive as Leonard Floyd. So I think that's really where we're going to end up doing. I think we keep Kingsley Jonathan, Von Miller's on there, Greg Rousseau's in. We refill it with at least one draft pick and then one free agent signing.
Cool. I like that plan, Tom.
You know, because I think we need some youth. And then we come in and get somebody who's kind of some upside free agent who maybe hasn't produced as much as we think he might, and come in Buffalo and be the best player he has.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it, dude. I got no pushback.
Okay. Well, Nige, you get to do D tackle. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so at this point, and I need to pose a question real quick to you, Tom, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot horribly. What's the official new salary cap?
255.4.
That's officially what it is.
Yeah, a lot of money.
Wow. Okay.
12 million more than was projected, so that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And what was it last year, roughly?
I can go look it up. 230s.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a huge increase. Thank you, Taylor Swift. So okay, dude. So I think of all of the UFAs that are on this team, I think
the last year's salary cap was 224.8 million, and we've bumped it up essentially another 30 million.
Wow. Shit. That is crazy.
Yeah.
God.
Yep.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Money.
So all of this to say, I think of all these guys in yellow on any part of this document, Daquan Jones is the guy we are most likely to re-sign, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think the way he was playing last year doesn't show any type of drop off. He's a starting caliber 1 tech that I don't think is going to be outrageous. And I think given what we know now about the salary cap, he's a guy that we would likely re-sign. I think there's a really solid chance that Poona Ford gets re-signed to this team. I think he's going to fall in that category of bargain bin free agent, and I think he'll be back on the squad. I think we're going to say goodbye to Tim Settle, Jordan Phillips, Linval Joseph, which leads me to the point where I say I do think that just because Daquan Jones is older, right, we need to be ready to stock that cupboard. So I do want to see a high draft pick go into the defensive tackle room to go and grow a little bit with Ed Oliver. And that way, I also don't like your first guy off the bench after Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, is Poona Ford. I don't think that's enough depth. So I think that's where that drafted guy comes in. As to that depth, you will probably also see 1 to 2 bargain bin free agent signings for the D tackle position.
I like it.
That's my thought at this point.
Yeah, man, that's got to be it. And I hope it's a lot. I hope Brandon Beane just pours his darts out on.
I think the defensive line is going to be the position with the most overhaul.
Yeah. Yep. And I honestly, I hope we get some youth that we can sign to more than single year deals because, man, it's every year we're pivoting and coming up with something new. Like we got to get a little bit more consistency in those two rooms.
For sure. Cool.
All right. Jake, any thoughts here? Any questions? We rolling?
No, yeah, I guess, yeah, you guys crushed it.
All right. Sweet.
Makes sense. Restock the defensive line. Yeah.
Cool. I like it. All right. Linebacker, I think, is relatively simple. I think we slot in Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard as our two starters. Dorian Williams and Balin Spector as amazing depth, kind of still on rookie deals, coming in and has some really good chances of being significant roles, especially as we're kind of possibly looking at some more 3 linebacker sets in the defense next year. And I think Tyrell Dodson is going to walk. I think he's going to get a big enough deal where he's going to go make some money, coming off a great year, doing what he was asked. I think he's going to get paid more elsewhere. If for whatever reason he doesn't and he wants to come back for a cheap enough deal that Brandon Beane's going to wave in front of him, I'm sure he's going to get an offer for Brandon Beane, and that'd be awesome. But I don't think he's going to happen. And Tyler Matakevich, thanks for all you did. Adios. I think that we need to, if Tyrell Dodson and Tyler Matakevich both leave, like I think they might, and I'm hoping that this is just free agency, or it could be just another late round draft pick, another 4th, 5th, 6th round draft pick, like Dorian Williams, Balin Spector, and Terrell Bernard all were. Matt Milano was a 5th round pick. So like, I think we throw another, late-ish day 3 pick at linebacker, come in, hopefully somebody that has some special teams ability who can maybe take that Tyler Matakevich role on a rookie deal. That would be sweet. Come in, play for phase special teams and also be, not a huge liability like Tyler Matakevich was anytime we asked him to have to come play actual linebacker.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the big one there with Matakevich too is I'm ready to be done spending a ton of money on a special teams only player.
At least that many, right? We're already playing Saran Neal. So like we can't pay that many of them, right? Let's get let's get one a good special teamer on a rookie deal, please, right?
That would be sick.
There's college players who have made their statement on a roster and stayed on a roster because they can play special teams and they're going to be able to do that same thing in the NFL. So that is not just an exclusively veteran skill set. That rookies can come in and or younger players can come in and do the same thing and make an impact there. So I hope that Brandon Beane kind of has that. I'm sure, which I'm sure he does. I'm sure he has that on his mind. He loves special teams, so I'm sure that's what it's going to end up looking like.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Cornerback. Let's see here. In all honesty, bro, I would be absolutely fine just re-signing Dane Jackson here. You know what you have with him. He's a spot starter. He's good depth. If you can work out the deal, I would love to see him come back. I think he's valuable depth. Coaching staff loves him. Sean McDermott loves Dane Jackson. If he's going to get more money elsewhere and we're not going to be able to afford it, this is so tough because you don't know what you're going to do with Tre'Davious White. I don't see high draft capital going here. I think what you're probably going to see is, like I said before, Christian Benford and Rasul Douglas starting. Kai Elam's probably your first guy off the bench, and then you sign. You're probably going to end up signing your 4th runner.
You don't think it's? I bet it's Trey. I bet Trey is either number 3 or number 4.
I just don't think we can bet on him being able to do any of those yet. And he's not going to be. I don't think he's good to go until halfway through the season at the earliest.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I know
I don't know.
It's a tough one to do because you don't know what the deals with Trey White. So I think you're going to see a decent. Predictively, I think they're going to assume that you don't have much in Trey White, and that you have to invest something here, whether it's money or draft capital. I don't see a cornerback draft pick being made before the 5th round, given the other needs. I think you're going to see probably free agent signing here.
Okay. Yeah.
It's my guess.
I'm fine with that. Sweet.
Cool.
Safety is going to be a big one, right? Again, it's going to be kind of like D tackle, where I think it's going to be a lot of capital spent here.
My guess is a 4th round pick. I don't know why a 4th round pick on a safety is screaming at me.
It seems like it, yeah. And when I say a lot of capital, I don't mean like valuable capital, but I think a bunch of darts are going to be thrown at free agents or draft picks. Like, we need to refill this room here. I bet Micah Hyde retires. I do think we keep Jordan Poyer. He's signed to the deal. He loves playing in Buffalo. The guy said it over and over again. Like I would love for him to stay and take one more stab at trying to go get a ring with this team. And then honestly, I bet either Taylor Rapp or Cam Lewis. They're not gonna be expensive. So I think we were assigned one of those two. I don't know who it is.
I hope it's Cam Lewis.
Yeah, probably. I think Taylor Rapp I was excited about him coming in, and then he disappointed. He definitely did not live up to the hype that I thought he might, especially because he had starter reps on other teams and came in and just like was a little bit of a liability here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I bet it's a sign Cam Lewis, take a day 2 draft pick, and then another free agency start throw. I think it's one name that I think is exciting is Darnell Savage was released by the Green Bay Packers, and he played with Rasul Douglas. I bet he's going to be too expensive, but man, that'd be fun. Get Rasul and Darnell Savage, reunite them here in Buffalo, and
that would be sick. I do think he's going to be too expensive.
I think so, but if he's looking to go for a team that's going to compete, and he's a veteran, right? He's probably thinking about a ring, and I don't know. I think it could be cool. So that's my secret hope. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's a secret hope.
I think if there's one thing I've learned is these guys don't ever actually pick the potential to win a trophy. They pick the money every time, as they should. But
yeah. I'm trying to think of. I feel like I have examples in my brain, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a ton of these players that came to sign for bargain bin deals here, right? Like
100%, dude. Yeah, I mean, who knows, dude? Maybe I'm totally wrong about the D tackle room, and Tim Settle and Jordan Phillips are both back. Like I wouldn't be happy about that, but like,
I hope not.
I can't imagine they are. I think Jordan Phillips is going to retire.
Yeah, he probably should.
So.
Anyway, and specialists are all signed, so I don't foresee any changes there. Hopefully, Tyler Bass goes to see whatever shrink he needs to get his head straight. Go on vacation, dude. Get your feet rubbed somewhere. Reed Ferguson, buddy, keep grilling all you want. I love you. Sam Martin, figure out how to be more consistent, but that's cool. I think we're good.
Yeah, brother. Take us out of here, Tommy.
Okay. Hey, we got that's a big deal. There was a bunch kind of figured out there. So
there's a lot that happened.
Yeah, there's a lot. But that's our off-season recommendations. We'll post these to our social medias. Get you guys. Would love to hear your thoughts if you think how brilliant we are or how stupid we are. We love both. So let us know. And yeah, we will be back again on Tuesday. So it'll be also a live stream. We're essentially going to be trying to do live streams fairly often. 99% of our podcasts are going to be live streamed now. So come join us here on YouTube. It's fun. Please interact. Send us comments. Ask us questions. You'll get posted up on the live on the video, and we'd love to see you. So that'd be awesome. Let's get rolling here. So again, like always, thank you all so much from the bottom of our hearts for spending some time with us. We really do appreciate it. It's really fun. It'd mean a lot to us if you could please share this episode, give us a like, give us a follow, send it to your grandma, show it to your dog, whoever. And we're available on Instagram, X, on YouTube, on TikTok, on I don't know, anywhere else you could find us. And that would be phenomenal. So thank you so much. These are my pals. That's Jake. That's Nigel. My name is Tom, and you're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast. We're sending you love wherever you are. Let's go Buffalo.